Today on University Report, we'll explain how the campus community remembered and honored a life lost on campus.
Oh, it was a huge shock. I was definitely shocked. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it happened at Appleby.
Also, how the spring weather has impacted student events. And later on, we'll show you the new life of a local church. Good morning, I'm Marissa Mazzetta.
And I'm Hunter Bertram. Early last week, a university facility worker found a dead body in Appleby Hall. UMPD determined that person was neither a student nor an employee of the university. On Wednesday, some of those who work in Appleby Hall gathered for a ceremony to honor the life lost.
You matter and are loved in this plane and all the planes moving forward.
On Tuesday, April 18th, a body was found lifeless, alone and out of place in room 270 in Appleby Hall.
I was very surprised to hear that because it's not like a place I would expect to hear that someone died.
That someone made the voyage from life to death in a place where we go to learn.
And so I just imagined a person passing on in one of these rooms just sort of by themselves and alone. There's a certain sadness to that.
This unidentified individual, apparently unsheltered, died in a lounge on the second floor, a few doors down from a counseling center and classroom.
Not only do we have to celebrate the people in our communities, but we also have to take a step and help the people in our communities.
Even though that individual wasn't a part of the community that we normally see, the community came together to honor them.
I'm so glad they're being celebrated because there wasn't really much information about who died. So it's nice that people are acknowledging this is a person and that the life they lived should be celebrated.
Wednesday afternoon, Nina Bython and other Appleby staff came together in an honoring ceremony to help the spirit continue its journey to the afterworld.
Sometimes we just need to slow down, get back to ritual.
During that ceremony, they built an altar to honor the dead. Organizers asked us not to record video of the ceremony itself. We respected that request. Still, the energy from the spiritual tribute could be felt even after the traditional copal smoke left the room and the singing of the Nuault songs left for silence. The altar consists of spiritual offerings and colored flowers symbolizing the four directions and elements: water, air, fire, and earth.
That's the message that I want that person to know and receive.
Yeah, they matter.
They matter, yes. They mattered, they matter.
Appleby Hall is a busy place, and this is an especially busy time of year, but not too busy to take at least a few minutes to remember the life lost here. The altar will remain in Appleby Hall until further notice. Staff welcomes anyone to visit and add to it. We still don't know the name or identity of the person who died, and there's no indication any crime was involved. The body was turned over to the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office to determine the cause of death.
Here's an update on the search for a new university president. On Monday, the Board of Regents opened applications for an interim president, and the timeline is pretty short. It's just a week-long application period closing on Monday, May 1st. Applicants will remain confidential until the board selects a few finalists.
In a little over 2 weeks, thousands of Gophers students will be graduating and entering the so-called real world. Andrew Becker takes a look at the job market these graduates will be facing.
Right now, I am standing here in an empty Huntington Bank Stadium on the University of Minnesota campus. However, in a few weeks' time, this stadium will be filled with Gophers on the cusp of taking their next step in life. For some, a job opportunity awaits. For others, an uncertain future. But the question remains, is there much to be worried about?
I graduate in 2 weeks, and I don't really have any plans right now.
Camilla Breen, a journalism major with a minor in interdisciplinary design, has much to think about as pomp and circumstance comes closer and closer. But is it affecting her?
I'm very stressed about it. I think I don't know, I think I'm a little bit delusional in this aspect, but for some reason, everything always ends up working out for me anyway.
Not having a concrete plan could be a stress for many, but it's not the end of the world, especially in this job market. According to CNBC, the job market is cooling a bit, but still remains red hot. As of now, there are nearly 10 million job openings across the country, the lowest number since May of 2021, but a significant increase from pre-pandemic times when that number hardly ever crossed the 8 million threshold. In contrast, there are under 6 million unemployed Americans. The process of finding a job shouldn't be too big a worry for Gopher graduates. For 2022 graduates of the Carlson School of Business, 98% reported receiving a job offer within 3 months of graduation. For 2021 graduates of the College of Liberal Arts, 87% reported trading in their cap and gown for either a job or a higher level of education.
I'm going to do a 1-year master's program, marketing in Carlson School of Management.
Finding a job isn't just about finding the right opportunity. Some believe it's about knowing the right people.
I will say the big thing that will come up probably no matter who you talk to is the importance of networking. Many, and I would go so far as to say perhaps most jobs are found through networking, not through just sitting at the computer staring at job postings.
So for you graduating Gophers who are going to be sitting through a commencement address that you probably wish would be sped up a little bit, maybe take a second to say a quick hello to the person to your left or the person to your right. Who knows? Maybe you're just one addition to your network away from your next great career opportunity. Andrew Becker, University Report.
And for those not graduating and still seeking career guidance, Becky Borg, the career coach, recommends checking out events on the U of M campus, including career fairs and panels to seek opportunities and make connections.
Lot 37 is the site of the U of M's annual Spring Jam Festival, but this outdoor ambient sound you can hear right now was apparent last week, and I'll tell you why it was so quiet coming up.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From wastewater to surface water, and Minnetonka to Superior. Discover how the University of Minnesota is protecting our state's most precious resource.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
I'm Ben Affleck, and I want to thank you for joining me in supporting Paralyzed Veterans of America.
I joined the Navy to serve my country as a Navy SEAL. While parachuting with my platoon, my parachute didn't open. I broke my neck. It left me paralyzed. Paralyzed Veterans of America was by my side from that moment on.
Since 1946, Paralyzed Veterans of America has kept a promise to our wounded veterans. We will never leave a fallen comrade behind.
Thanks to PVA, paralyzed veterans are getting specialized medical care and treatments, the benefits they've earned, the jobs they want, and the accessible vehicles and homes they need.
I just don't think my family would be as happy as they are without the support that I received from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Our veterans fought for us. Let's fight for them.
To learn more, go to pva.org today.
Not all people are the same. And yet, when we visit the doctor, our treatments don't look that different. Why is that? Because we just don't have enough information to do it better. By gathering health data from 1 million people, our country's best researchers will be able to develop treatments that are as unique and complex as we are. With this new information, doctors will have a better understanding of disease so they can innovate the next great breakthroughs in medicine. Learn more at joinallofus.org.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From farms to breweries and orchards to markets, discover how the University of Minnesota is cultivating a new crop of Minnesota businesses.
Welcome back. It's been a couple gloomy weeks in the metro area with rain, a little bit of sun, but mostly rain. Andrew Becker is here to tell us that if we'll ever see the glorious sun again. Andrew?
Hunter, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it might be a little bit before we see that glorious sun again. we're going to see a bit of clouds and rains that aren't going away anytime soon. You can see here this past week saw typical late April weather with a bit of chilliness in the air, but a little bit of hope as well. You can see these students enjoying the beautiful sun on Tuesday as the temperatures hit the mid-50s. Wednesday also saw 56 degrees as the high, and Thursday with 64 as well. Talk about a late April heat wave. We can see these next 5 days coming up, and it's going to be a little bit rainy, a little bit cloudy. We see a high of 53 today, a high of 51 tomorrow on Saturday with rain littering both days. And on Sunday, we're going to cap with a nice 50-degree day. Perfect weather for those students looking to cram for finals. But on Monday, as we get past that weekend, we're going to see a gorgeous 54 with that sun beginning to peek out. And right after that, 61 degrees, beautiful sun, sun's out, guns out. Now, Hunter, with this gorgeous weather, you might see me rocking a pair of shorts on campus pretty soon.
You know, I hope I will see you wearing a pair of shorts on campus. Thanks, Andrew. Well, speaking of weather, cold temperatures affected the U of M's annual Spring Jam turnout last weekend. Connor O'Neill was at the festival on Saturday and joins us now live from the East Bay campus. Connor, what was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, Hunter, you hear this right now? Yeah, well, there's nothing, Hunter. There's nothing. It was quiet, and that was definitely the case at Spring Jam as well. There just weren't a lot of students there this year. And the weather that you mentioned earlier, that was a big part of it, Hunter. The festival that's usually supposed to be filled with games, drinks at the beer garden, singing, and people just wasn't that this year. While I was at Spring Jam, there were maybe like 100 people there enjoying themselves. That cloudy 36-degree weather definitely played a big role in keeping students away from Lot 37. But also, you struggled to bring in headline musical artists as well. In 2018, Lil Yachty came to perform. That was 5 years ago. This year's artists, they weren't your typical headliners. There was Kaylee Moore, Eam Triplin, Minnesota's own Dury, but many of these are artists students haven't heard of before. At least I know I haven't. Don't get me wrong, there's still people enjoying themselves, but others like David Okamati felt like they were wasting their time.
Spring Jam. As you can see, it's packed full of people. There's a Ferris wheel, we got DJs, we got chess. We're in the beer garden. It's dead in here.
Okay, so obviously Hunter Okamati was being sarcastic when he said it was packed full of people, because behind him in the background there were like maybe 2 or 3 people. I've reached out to the U's student events and activities team who sets up Spring Jam for attendance numbers, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. But Hunter, it's apparent Spring Jam isn't the same as it used to be a few years ago.
Yeah, it really isn't. Hopefully next year it'll be better. Thanks, Connor.
What's going on behind me? Coming up, I'll give you a closer look into casino night here at Kaufman Memorial Union.
Next, we'll show you the popular study spots on campus.
We're all about water in Minnesota. I've been here approaching 50 years. Originally, the biggest problem we had is algae bloom from the sewage in the lake. And now we got the zebra mussels, and that's been a major negative.
Zebra mussels are an aquatic invasive species. They impact the food webs within lakes, which impact fish populations, growth, occurrence, and especially in Minnesota, where so much of our recreation is lake-based, that impacts those local businesses, different tourism around the state. Zebra mussels were first found in the Great Lakes back in 1986, and since then they have spread throughout much of Minnesota. People love clear water, but that's not necessarily good. That means that conditions are different for the plants, for the fish, for everything in the lake. This project out on Lake Minnetonka is looking at a copper-based product called EarthTech QZ. We are hoping that this will give us ideally some solutions for controlling zebra mussel populations. This project is largely a partnership between the University of Minnesota, specifically MASERC, the Minnesota Aquatic Invasive Species Research Center, and the U.S. Geological Survey.
It is very much a team effort.
even the marina owner that has graciously allowed us to use their area for staging our equipment and supplies. So without the cooperation of all those different partners, it would be impossible to do a study of this nature.
There are a lot of infrastructure and businesses existing relying on the lake. It's not only the marinas, it's everybody around Lake Minnetonka will suffer subsequently.
Well, the zebra mussels over on the east end of the lake make it clear. It looks like an aquarium over there. So during the daytime, it's kind of tough to fish.
Zebra mussels affect our boats by getting into the motors. They affect the beaches. They get on the rocks. People step on them, cut their feet. So it just makes it less desirable to use the lake. And as a business that's in a lake community, that affects us.
This project is specific to Lake Minnetonka, but we're hoping that this type of treatment will be able to be repeated on different lakes.
The University of Minnesota's Aquatic Invasive Species Research Center is one of a kind. It's the only one like it in the country.
And the work that we're doing is protecting Minnesota's lakes.
The University of Minnesota is absolutely essential in this matter. And it's a profoundly positive experience for us to be part of it.
Welcome back. Minnesota sports fans are in for a treat once again. The Wild are still fighting for the Stanley Cup in tonight's Game 6 against the Dallas Stars. The Wild lost to the Stars 0-4 on Tuesday. Matt Dumba, assistant defensive captain, said in an interview posted to the team's Twitter page, the series isn't over yet. It's as simple as that. The Dallas Stars lead the series 3-2. They play at the Xcel Energy Center tonight at 5 p.m.
Gambling is usually a high-risk, high-reward situation. But what if there was no risk? Recently, they turned Kaufman Memorial Union into a pop-up casino. I went to go check it out. Here's what I saw.
It's a Friday night on the U of M campus, and there's so much to do. But why not roll the dice and test your luck at a casino night?
22.
Student unions and activities transformed Kaufman Memorial Union into the place to be for students looking to play games like poker, blackjack, or Texas Hold'em. And don't worry, at this kind of casino, you can only leave with more than what you came in with.
Well, it's funny money, right? People show up and you just hand them fake money, so it's not like it's your mortgage or your house payment, your college fund that is on the hook.
No, anywhere from
just like chill, you know, it's not like super high stakes just because you're not really losing anything. And, you know, it's a raffle, so it's just kind of fun to like test your luck.
That's right, a raffle. Students use the fake money won at different tables to buy raffle tickets. So while you aren't going to see any changes to your bank account at this kind of casino, you may still win some prizes, like a Bob Ross Chia Pet, candles, or a Hydro Flask water bottle. And what Friday night would be complete without some food and drinks? But if free food, cool prizes, and tons of games aren't enough for you, this casino also seemed to be a jackpot for meeting new people and having a much-needed break from the stress of daily life.
You're welcome.
It's easy to have conversation just like at the table and stuff while you're playing.
It's something new, so, you know, it allows you to break the boring loop you might have going on otherwise.
There you go.
While the semester is almost over, there's still time to take advantage of the last few SUA activities the university has to offer. For more information on upcoming events, visit our website, z.umn.edu/universityreport. Also, a correction to our previous story, the Wild game will be beginning at 8:30 p.m. tonight.
Thanks, Marissa. Attending student events is one way to push off studying, but it's now time for students to crack open their books. Starting at 8 a.m. today, East Bank Walters Library began its 24-hour access to study spaces in preparation for finals. Now, if you look over, students must show their university ID to access the library's study spaces and computers. And over at the West Bank campus, Wilson's Library will keep its fixed 8 hours to 10 p.m. during the school week.
And coming up, I'll tell you how this historic Como neighborhood church is being turned into a space for all to use.
Because it was there. Because determination overcame distance.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
Because the unsolvable was invitation enough. Why are we driven to discover? Because we can change the course of history. Because tomorrow's visionaries need focus today. At the University of Minnesota, with each student comes an opportunity to set their sights higher and to show them the way, so our graduates can shape the future and fulfill the dreams they haven't yet dreamt. Because renewable energy can sustain us all. Our students envision the sun powering homes on every block, wind-blown ideas launching entirely new economies, and fertile soils fueling cars and people alike, protecting the harmony between humanity and nature. Because self-expression can move 1,000 souls. Be it a song or a dance, a canvas or a poem, the arts are vital to the U of M experience, as are self-discovery and moments of sheer amazement. Because cancer can be conquered by targeting medicines, customizing treatments, and transplanting stem cells, incurable cancers can become survivable. Terminal can be redefined as treatable, and optimism can spread once again. Because human rights need champions. From classrooms in Minnesota to courtrooms in Uganda, assembling a collective voice for change allows dignity to return and extends human rights across the globe. Because clean water ensures quality of life. It's essential to the health of all nations, so we're studying models and molecules. We are committed to making clean water flow freely, from the headwaters of the Mississippi to the slums of Mumbai. We share the belief that anything is possible, because at the University of Minnesota, discoveries unfold, breakthroughs happen, and history is forever changed.
Welcome back. In the Minneapolis-Como neighborhood, one historic building stands out from the rest. The Como Congregational Church, designed by famous architect Charles Sedgwick, is currently being restored. Madison Morandi tells us about the church's new life and as more than just a place to gather.
The Como Congregational Church has withstood more than a century of changes. It has been used as a space for social reform meetings, a medieval armor museum, and now as a community space. Larry Crawford has lived down the street from the church for over 40 years. He now is part of a nonprofit overseeing the restoration of part of the church. Crawford knows all about the history of the building.
It was created as a kind of a community meeting space by James Elwell, who founded the Como neighborhood in the early 1880s.
Maria Sanford, one of the first women to be named a college professor, fought for women's suffrage and clean water in the Como Congregational Church.
Maria Sanford, she's an extraordinary Minnesota woman. She was called the best loved woman in Minnesota for her role in social causes, public health, better government, and so on. She lived just nearby on the other side of the block, and this was her base of operation.
Now there's apartments in here. Joel Husong recently bought the historic church. He donated the sanctuary and converted other spaces like the Sunday school to apartments. So this is no longer just a place to pray. It's a place to stay.
Many of the tenants had never dreamed that they'd ever live in a church, and now they're living in a church.
It's no simple task to renovate a 19th century building.
We ran into a 1,000-gallon fuel tank that no one had known about.
The building is already being enjoyed by those in it.
These stone walls are higher, but these are the original stone walls right here.
The exposed stone behind me is absolutely beautiful. Like, each room has them.
John Hostin moved into his apartment in September.
It's a cool thing to say you live in a church. That, it's something I'll tell my kids eventually, that I lived in a church my junior year of college, and, it was definitely a good experience, one that I wouldn't trade for the world.
Even though the sanctuary is not complete, Hostin and others who live in the church apartments have been able to check it out.
Through what we call the catacombs, which is like this rock tunnel off in the basement here, and it leads straight to the backside of the sanctuary. And we brought a speaker, we were sitting in the pews, we put on the choir robes.
For now, the hope is that the sanctuary will be ready for public use for things like theater productions and other gatherings by the end of the year. Madison Morandi, University Report.
The Como Community Nonprofit is looking for a lot of volunteers to help with things like painting and event planning. To learn more about the church restoration or how to volunteer, go to our website z.umn.edu/university report. Thank you for tuning in to the last University Report of Spring 2023 semester. I'm Marissa Mazzetta.
And I'm Hunter Bertram. Good luck on finals, Gophers. Hey, there we go.